was a multi-sport athlete in high school, playing everything from water polo, swimming, track and field, soccer, basketball. But track and field was the sport I excelled at, and I did high jump, 800, hurdles, and pole vault. And I walked onto the UCLA track team as a heptathlete and a pole vaulter. I finished my collegiate career at the Olympic trials in 2008, pole vaulting there. I found CrossFit actually from like my freshman year. Next door neighbor was from Santa Cruz, and he had done CrossFit like growing up, and he had talked about it, and I was always like, it's kind of crazy, I don't know what that's about. But just wanting to get back in the gym and do something active and something different, and so I just like looked up the website and started doing workouts on my own at the UCLA gym, and did my first official workout in a gym at CrossFit East Sacramento in November of 2008. I signed up for the regional, just not really knowing what was going to happen, not knowing if I was going to be able to do all the movements or the workouts, and they released them the week before, and it seemed like things I could do, so I showed up to the Sheriff's Academy in Orange County by myself and met a ton of new people, and met all the people from CrossFit LA, and then ended up joining their gym later that spring. I did well at that competition. I took first place in all 3 of the events. I guess there is a disclaimer that Rebecca Voigt and Chris Clever and Val McKenzie all got the pass last year in the section, so none of those top girls were there. But I mean, I still went out and worked pretty hard to get first in each of the events, and just really enjoyed myself. It was one of the best days of my life. I had felt perfect forever, and I did one hard workout, and that evening I felt like I was getting rhabdo, even though I didn't know what rhabdo was, and it just, everything kind of had chills and fevers and headaches and things, and ended up leaving early from a trip I had been on and going straight to the ER, and they said, well, you don't have meningitis because you would have been dead by now. And so I was like, okay, well that's fine. And so they sent me home, and ended up going back to the ER and getting admitted, and finding out that I had a heart murmur, which I'd never had before, and finding out that I had endocarditis, which is a heart infection. So the 5th day in, when they said I had a heart murmur, and I was like, you're kidding, I've never had a heart murmur in my life. I've played all these sports, like I've been, perfect athlete. Like 3 weeks ago I was at the sectionals, and obviously there's nothing wrong with me. And they're like, no, we're gonna, do an EKG and an echocardiogram and a transesophageal cardiogram and take a better look at what's wrong with your heart. And I was just blown away, because I had no idea that there's even a remote possibility that was something. It was devastating. My dad was in Los Angeles, in the hospital with me, just sitting with me, and when the doctor came in to tell us that there's a heart issue, I had actually had some friends in the room, and she's like, it's pretty serious, you might want to have them come back some other time and talk. I need to talk to you about something. And she sat down and took a deep breath in order to tell me that I had a heart defect, genital heart failure. And my dad and I, after she left, we both kind of just looked at each other and took a deep breath, and it was just completely shocking, and just the last thing that I had expected to hear. When I went into the hospital, I was in great shape. I was in the best shape of my life, and I was at the top of my game, and I don't think that if I had been as well as I was prior to getting sick, that I would have come out of it as well as I did in the end. Overcoming this challenge has made the experience richer, has put more perspective on health and fitness and wellness. It's made me work harder, and I didn't think I could work harder at some points. I thought that I was at the maximum of my potential, and that I was doing everything I could to be as good as possible, and to know that there's always room to grow and move up and get better has been huge for me. I think that everybody has their struggles and their challenges and their own personal heart surgeries to go through. I think that everyone has some sort of experience that just feels like your heart's being ripped out of your chest, and that the weight is on your shoulders, and that everyone has something that they draw on to use as that challenge and the basis to grow from. But, you know, in a way, I do feel like, you know, like I've been through some gnarly stuff recently, and if I can go through that, then I can keep going and going and going until I am exactly where I want to be as a CrossFit competitor.